It's been mission impossible over the last 3 seasons for the teams promoted from the EFL Championship up to the Premier League. Well, have we got cause for optimism in Premier League round one? What a start. Wins for both Sunderland and Leeds. Drink it in, and that's exactly what we did over on 3 at the Back on the Conor McGilligan channel. Here is a clip about the red-hot start from Sunderland and Leeds. And if you click somewhere up there at the end of the video, you can see our whole conversation.
You pick your poison. Where do we go next?
I want to go to Sunderland. I'm saying it right now.
Okay. Let's go to Wayside. Who wants to start?
Go on, Matt.
What a result. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I
didn't expect that, did you? We really put you on the spot there. It was me then.
No, but I mean, I didn't really know how to I didn't really know how to describe the game once it played out. I'm still kind of lost for words, just because we've become used to this norm that the 6 newly promoted teams are struggling. And have any of them had such a good opening result? I mean, I know, like Ben said earlier, you want that first game at home. You want a team that's going to struggle.
Brentford when they beat Arsenal on that first?
Oh, but they stayed up, Ben. I meant as in the last couple of seasons. Yeah. No. But you're right, and obviously Brentford did stay up, and that's making me think. Hang on a minute, this is looking good for Sunderland. I mean, they were devastating, weren't they? First half, much of a muchness. West Ham had a couple of chances, but Sunderland came out and they were devastating. And we know this is what they're good at. Obviously, they'll absorb pressure and hit you where it hurts. And 3 great goals. And the thing I enjoyed most as a Championship fan is it's 3 players that came up with them last season that got the goals. Dan Ballard, by the way, an absolute monster, because I've had a couple of reservations about Sunderland defensively coming into this season. I still think some depth would be good, but I mean, Ballard, unbelievable. And he took his goal so well as well.
Yeah, I mean, reinforcements as well. I thought Ronaldo looked very, very capable at the back. I thought when you were looking through that side, it was interesting. Like, and I don't want to go too far forward here, but Labrie in the second half, and I think they spotted it on Match of the Day as well, but it was really evident in game. They went to a 4-3-3, and this was when they were leading as well. And they put the wingers literally on the touchline. I think it was Talby and it might have been Meenda who was spread out wide as well. I can't quite remember. Or Adingra. It might have been Talby and Adingra. And that obviously left a lot of space in the midfield. And when you try to protect a lead, you want to be compact, but you almost trusted Siddiqui and Diarra to just cover all of that ground. And that's what they did. I think they ran the most in the Premier League. They eclipsed Man City at the weekend. Listen, we'll get into West Ham in just a second. I have to touch on West Ham towards the end of this. It's just a thing I have to do it towards the end and just talk about that sphere of where they are at as well. But when it comes to Sunderland, Ben, seriously impressive on all fronts and thoroughly deserved the win. As Matt's quite rightly said, great to see Thierry Isidore do his another one, opens his body. Thierry Henry-esque finish in the bottom corner. Loved doing that last season.
I was going to say, isn't he called Wilson?
Thierry Isidore. And once again, one of my favourites, Eliza Meenda. Lovely deft header into the bottom corner.
Yeah, and all those things you lined up last week, Conor, this had everything, didn't it? You had the finishing. I've just looked, they've got like 3 goals from 3/4 of an XG, basically. So they got their finishing spot on. Great to see the, we've had this constant, you can't out the Premier League. Well, okay, there's some crosses in the box and some headers. Hopefully we can shut this patronising nonsense to the EFL teams down immediately. As Matt says, players who were in there last season. And Conor, you said it as well. Home stadium, noisy, get off to a good start. Literally, we're going down the checklist of what we wanted these sides to do in terms of survival. Is it a soft opponent? You're going to take that in a minute, Conor. But absolutely brilliant just to get the momentum, get things underway. And I think what's so important here is imagine all 3 teams had lost. It would have set the tone immediately. Here come Leeds, Burnley and Sunderland. They're going to be 18, 19 and 20. And it's flipped it on its head. And the discussion in the sometimes slightly reductive mainstream media this morning has been not look at the chasm, which I may be guilty of talking about a little bit too much, but hey, it is what it is. The conversation, Conor, is, is it going to be different this season? And all of a sudden, you've now got pundits who actually care about it. They didn't seem to care too much over the last 2 seasons about the team struggling, but I'm here for it. Everyone seems to be behind these three teams to survive, and we'll come on to Leeds after you've buried West Ham. But Sunderland just incredible. And Conor, sometimes it is the playoff team. I don't know why. Maybe they just have the lowest expectations and the most freedom. Sometimes it is the playoff winners that, can. I've probably got no anecdotal evidence for that whatsoever. But do you know what I mean? They can just have a free run at it.
I think what I liked about them is the weekend as well is like Ben's quite rightly said, it was the balls into the box. I mean, I was looking at that and I was thinking big Dan Ballard with another brilliant header, Meenda with a different type of header, but it was excellent. Obviously, then on the transition, Isidore putting the ball into the back of the net as well. But I just love the physicality, the athleticism, box to box. A heck of a lot of the midfield, the high press that they were putting on, but then their ability to sit into a little bit of a low block and let West Ham have the ball in certain phases, of which didn't really amount to anything, as we saw. But yeah, I mean, and Sunderland, Matt, continue to buy players, and they're just continuing. They've been linked with Abdul Fatawu, which would be an outstanding signing, you feel. John Lasumi coming in from Bologna, it looks like, as well. A very, very highly rated centre-back. It just feels like Sunderland haven't stopped this window in terms of bringing in players, but maybe they're going down that Nottingham Forest route. Who knows?
Yeah, honestly. And yeah, they deserve a lot of credit for bedding them in and getting off to such a good start, because it can take, obviously, a few weeks for players to gel in. I thought Xhaka had a decent game, and I think he's only going to go on to get better. I thought he read the game well, and we've spoken about Premier League experience and how crucial it will be. I just think it's such positive vibes at Sunderland at the minute, isn't it? I mean, I'm going to pander to your Sunderland subscribers here, Conor. I mean, when Sunderland, was it Ballard, of course?
All 7,230 of them.
But when Ballard scored the goal against Coventry, I don't think any of us have heard the Stadium of Light that noisy. But I think it was topped at the weekend for each of the three goals. I mean, honestly, we said that the Stadium of Light could play a massive difference in Sunderland's season, because it's that big a stadium. It could go one or two ways. Can they be the 12th man?
It's been a graveyard at times when they've been struggling, hasn't it?
It could get toxic. I remember it in League One, Ben, but I mean, it was rocking. It's like the good old days with Sunderland back in the Premier League. And yeah, the fans were fantastic, I want to say.
Okay, well, I'm going to let you guys take the reins with this because I'm just quite sick of talking about it. And I'm trying to remain as balanced as Benjamin Bloom does when he's talking about Ipswich.
I got accused, Conor. I did Ipswich on a watch along the other day. I was so balanced, someone said, Ben, you sounded disappointed when Ipswich scored. No, sorry, carry on, mate.
It's that thing where you're trying to be balanced, that you don't want to give away that you support a team. Like you kind of just so you bring it. It's like hammering Ipswich, I'm hammering Leeds. But yeah, okay, Leeds picking up the 1-0 victory, clean sheet, brilliant from a Leeds perspective.
Tell me you're pleased with it, Conor.
Yeah, can you tell? But no, it's obviously feet still on the ground, but I think you guys will you can attest to this, especially Ben, being an Ipswich fan. Getting a win in the Premier League is so big, it's so valuable, and you have to work so hard for it. You know, there was points in that second half where you could tell that the Leeds players were knackered and they were really having to dig in, against some top operators. Then you see, Thierry Barry coming off the bench, just brought from Villarreal for a massive fee, French under 21 international who's got big things ahead of him. Dewsbury Hall, who we're all very, very aware of and how good he can be in the pockets and the tight spaces. And then obviously Jack Grealish comes onto the pitch and you're thinking, oh my goodness. And Leeds, with the greatest of respect, are bringing on, Brendan Aronson, Elia Gruev, and Jack Harrison. So it's kind of you seeing the level difference there. But Ellen Road was bouncing, absolutely bouncing. And it once again, like Ben and you as well, Matt, was saying about the Stadium of Light, it's so important to get something out of that, of these home games. But quite lucky as well when you're comparing Leeds to Burnley, because it could have very much been the other way, where Leeds are drawn up against Tottenham or Leeds are drawn up against Liverpool, similar to that of Ipswich when they came up and were drawn against Liverpool. It's a completely different task. In our first season, when we went up as champions under Bielsa, we went to the champions Liverpool and obviously lost that game 4-3. But so we were quite lucky in that respect. But yeah, guys, I'll let you take the floor and you can get into that match. But yeah, Leeds winning it 1-0.
Yeah, I always remember Gareth Southgate, worth a mention today, talking about England matches and saying, oh, they're like national events. And I kind of do want promoted clubs to view these as big cup ties, these games, not in the respect of you're massive underdogs and that you win them once out of 10 if you're really lucky, but in the respect of, and let's be honest, wait until Monday night sometimes isn't the most helpful, is it? You're kind of sat there on on tender hooks or whatever all weekend while everyone else is playing. I totally agree with you though, Conor. You'd much rather have not been at Spurs away on 3 p.m. on Saturday. You'd much rather have been at a hostile, noisy Elland Road on a Monday night. And I suppose the conversation does get sidetracked into the penalty, and we do have to get to that. But this is great, isn't it? Because they went at it. And I said this about Farke, of all the managers that have come up, he's the one that's the most attuned to being able to actually control a game in the Premier League. Maybe not an away game against the top 6 side, but a home game against Everton. And Moisey's going to, play pragmatic. And it was there for them to, step onto. And that's what they did. And the penalty is the penalty, and we can discuss it. But I do think over the basis of the 90 minutes, they deserved the win. I think it's a good performance. It's not, obviously Sunderland have done the spectacular, but you don't stay up by spectacular, massive 3-0. You stay up by beating Everton 1-0 on a Monday night with a goal in the last 10 minutes. That's how you do it. Coin flip, win the damn game, get off to a good start. And great for Farke as well, because there's an ambient anxiety and pressure always with the Leeds fans and that man. And I'm really pleased he's got off to a winning start.
Matt, do you want to chime in?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm leaving it to you two till the penalty. I just said that.
I mean, it's worth mentioning. I know we say you want your home game against a bottom half team first, but you look at the next couple of games for Leeds being Arsenal away and then Newcastle. They actually put a lot of pressure on this Everton game, as you said, Conor, last week. It's a must win,
and they'll have a point per game at the end of those two, even if they're losing both 8-0.
Absolutely. And the performance was fantastic. The performance was brilliant.
please no, Ben. Goal difference is a thing, my friend.
The performance was fantastic, wasn't it? And I know we're going to come on to the penalty, but I think Leeds deserved to win. They were really, really up for it. And against an Everton team where I think they're in a really good place right now. This isn't Everton of a couple of years ago where we're thinking, they're going to be in danger again. Maybe they might be, but I don't necessarily think they will be. They've spent quite big, and they're moving into the new stadium. So, yeah, really encouraging performance, like you say, to get the Elland Road faithful rocking behind them. And, very, very encouraging start.
Just a quick comeback. I know you're only joking. Statistically, Conor, I don't know the exact numbers. Nobody gets relegated on goal difference. Never happens.
Oh, really?
Check out someone asked AI or someone in the comments. But I got a really good stat last year. We were talking about goal difference. Obviously, losing 8-0 twice in a row would be prohibitive to your survival chances, whatever. But yeah, check that out. It's less of a thing than you would imagine it is.
Right. Okay. There you go. Yeah, I think the first half was really good, but I guess the point is maybe the same with Sunderland. Obviously, they scored 3 goals, so you can't really attribute that to Sunderland. But I do still think they need a bit of firepower up front. Burnley definitely do, but I don't know about you two, but I thought in the midfield it looked excellent. I thought the midfield.
But you said about Stack, didn't you?
Stack was good.
I thought Ampadu grew into it as well, and Tanaka sort of grew into it as well. So that midfield 3, I think that framework works really nicely. I think it is just when you get in behind their midfield and defence, when it's kind of in that sort of zone of which, you need to be clinical. I thought maybe Nonto, James and Peru to start off with struggled maybe a little bit, and that's where you need to bring enforcements in and be able to really cultivate something out of nothing, really. And that's where Leeds will be looking at. But I feel that's going to be, I think that's going to be sort of synonymous with all the 3 clubs, really. I think they need to bring in maybe players going forward, and it felt like that with Leeds as well, to be honest with you.
But tactically, it's great, Conor, isn't it? Because McKenna used to get this with a stick to beat him with about, go to and people talk about 6s and 8s and 10s now. But did you view it as, a 3-man midfield, shore up that area?
Yeah, I thought it was. It felt almost like 2 No, we've been really listen to us now. Tacticos.
Here we go.
It felt like 2 6s and an 8. That's what I thought it felt
Tactico hipstero.
Yeah, Bill Bow shirt on as well. God, look at me. So yeah, no, I thought it was maybe 2 6s and an 8. I was about to say morphed sometimes into a 6 and 2 8s. But yeah, no, I thought it worked really, really well as well. You know, Longstaff wasn't involved as well. It was interesting how he brought on Gruev as opposed to bringing on Longstaff. The interesting debate is, fellas. And obviously, you know, being championship aficionados like you are, Ramazani not featured again. There's a conversation about squad registration as well with another couple of players coming in again. Harrison being picked over him as well. You know, Aronson coming on ahead of him. And it's interesting in the Premier League, isn't it, where you've got these X-factor players, but maybe Daniel Farke, and it aids what Ben was saying there in terms of maybe being a little bit more conservative and protecting a lead, and Daniel Farke being probably the best manager to sort of, you know, work your way through with that. He brings on Jack Harrison, brings on Aronson and Gruev, who are maybe off the ball a little bit more disciplined, and maybe that's what we're going to see a little bit more this season, and maybe a lack of Ramazani.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking to myself when I was following it last night, Conor, with 10 minutes to go, I was thinking, obviously, I'd love to see Leeds United snatch this, but I was also thinking, like, wouldn't it be a cruel twist of fate for Everton to just get one chance at the end and win it?
Not just Everton, it was going to be Grealish if it was anyone. Wasn't it?
But like, no, credit to Leeds for keep pushing, because obviously it's a dangerous game. You know, like we said, the Premier League. Burnley could put in a 6 out of 10 performance, but you can get absolutely rolled over. I thought Leeds were very good last night. Maybe score them an 8 or a 9, but they still nearly didn't get the win. You know, like it came so late on. So this is just the nature of how brutal the Premier League is. I think when you asked for our sort of players to watch out for last week, Conor, I'd mentioned the goalkeeper. Maybe didn't have the busiest game, and kicking wasn't great, but I'm old-fashioned. I just want a keeper to keep the ball out the back of the net. I know, obviously, today's game.
All right, Roy Keane.
Well, you know, obviously...
That's his job! That's his job!
But that was the problem last season, of course, wasn't it, with Melio? So it just kept going through him. And whenever Everton did have a chance, I thought he looked fairly commanding. So, yeah, that's definitely an encouraging sign, isn't it, to keep the clean sheet.
Let us know in the comments for more impressions you want Conor to do. I was actually quite down with that one.
There we go. Yeah. I watched way too much of Roy Keane. Right. Are we going to stumble on the big topic, the elephant in the room? Because I feel like Ben's probably got a file of which he's going to go on here.
Oh, I've been on the IFAB website. I haven't been on the IFAB website. Okay, so the first thing to say is that penalty decisions are not binary. It's not either 100% a penalty or 0% a penalty. So if I do go by what the referee is saying, we are looking for the arm to be in an unnatural position or for it to be a deliberate handball. So we think it's been given as a deliberate handball. We're looking, I don't think Tarkowski's big biceps helped him, did he? Because I was looking for the shirt sleeve, and so I think the ball hits his arm. Something that's been, well, if we accept that premise, we can move on. Something that's been annoying me is this: where's he supposed to put his arm? And it's like, well, that I would accept if you saw the Lyndon Dykes one for Birmingham against Ipswich, where he's jumping for a header and the ball scrapes his fingers. Yes, I accept. Where are you supposed to put your arm there? But this is a defender who's leaning his body towards the ball to block a shot. Well, there is no where are you supposed to put your arm there, because you're trying to block the shot there. The where are you supposed to put your arm argument, I feel, is when you're literally trying to use your head or whatever, and it just happens to hit your arm. So is it 100% a penalty? No. We're probably in 60-40. I think it's a penalty. I'm okay with it. I would, and here's a mind-blowing concept, watchers. I would also have been okay if it wasn't a penalty, because it's in a massive grey area. Respect the subjectivity of this. Don't get drawn into this binary nonsense of it having to be 100% or the other. And because, Conor, it was 60-40, you knew VAR was not going to overturn it, because a 60-40 would not be a clear and obvious error. So I'm okay with all of it. And I would have been okay if it wasn't given as well. Mind-blowing concept that, isn't it? Matt?
Go on,
yeah, no, I completely agree with what Ben said there. I mean, what I don't like, what I don't like is this sort of extremes language where it's definitely a penalty, it's definitely not a penalty. I think you've got to be honest. It's down the middle for me, and I'm going to have to sit on the fence and say it's inconclusive because I'm watching it back over and over again. And
I needed a few replays to say, right, I think it's actually, because it's a move. If it doesn't hit his arm, it's not handball, is it?
I mean, I'm confident it's hit his arm. And even then, he sort of points there. He points at his own arm to say, like...
I needed about 3 replays to see, Matt, and I mean, maybe my eyesight's not the best, to see that it hadn't hit his, pec rather than his arm.
It's difficult. I mean, the only other action he could do is if it was literally like straight down the side of his body, because it is still slightly out, but he's trying to get it behind him. The thing is, if you're leaning towards the ball, there's always that chance it will hit your arm.
And you're trying to stop it with your chest if you're leaning towards the ball.
Yeah. And one thing, I'm not sure if it's Carragher or Neville said on Monday Night Football, they said it's travelled a fair distance. I think it actually took a deflection. There wasn't a massive distance that it travelled. So once again, I don't like those sort of extremes. But I'm with Ben. I mean, I'm not going to kick off if it's given or not given. I suppose there's so many like this, though, and some get given and some don't get given. And some people think, right, well, I've seen that given before. It has to be a penalty, whereas it's really a grey area.
Oh, they've already got their screenshots ready for the next one. And they are going to send a strongly worded tweet, Matt.
But it's not really binary, though, is it? There is like a grey area, and that's where it's fallen into. And like I say, look, I thought Leeds deserved to win.
I bet Conor thinks it was a penalty.
I think so.
Can I be honest? When it happened, there wasn't a scream from me. There wasn't a shout. There was nothing. It was very much
were you like he wouldn't be so stupid to do that and concede a penalty? Not a player of Tarkowski's experience, right?
Exactly. And I did think to myself immediately. I saw it, and I obviously was doing a watch on last night, and I said, "No, it's going to be overturned. There's no way we're going to get a penalty for that." So. But then you see it again and you think to yourself, leaning to block for me with your chest is fine. That's defending. The issue is for me that instead of the ball hitting his chest, he shifted in a way that made it connect with his arm. And that's kind of the grey area right now because people are almost looking. I mean, effectively, Pickford's right behind him as well. I mean, this is the
England keeper.
Yeah, it's a completely irrelevant comment, but it kind of is relevant in terms of Tarkowski's perception of the situation. Pickford was good at parrying throughout the whole game, really, when Leeds had a shot. Stack actually had 2 or 3 efforts as well from that area, and Pickford calmly palmed it out, one about 10 minutes earlier, and he's directly behind it. He didn't trust it, and I agree with you. It's very wishy-washy. It's all subjective. But I do feel he lent with his arm a little bit. And I guess the conversation is, where's he supposed to put his arm as if he's falling? He's not falling. I think he's put his arm towards it first, and there's no attempt to block it with anything else. That's kind of where I'm at, really, when it comes to it. And I think,
Conor, he's trying to block it with his chest. And he misreads the flight, or he doesn't lean far enough. It's a physical. I mean, I'm being very harsh. He's an elite footballer. I couldn't do it, but he didn't lean far enough.
No. And
it's a good question, lads. If it wasn't given initially, do you think VAR would have then given it? I don't think so. I think they were always going to stick with the referee. I think, because it's such a grey area for me.
Which is wrong. It shouldn't be that.
That's a good point. It's a good point. I think that's what I'm saying about the consistency. That's why people want to kick off, but they always want to. There's always people that want to make a meal out of something more than it is. I think it's one of them where it's not the worst decision I've ever seen. Let's move on.